Thank you very much. Members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I called you here today not merely as a deputy minority leader, but as a member of parliament who has been dragged unwillingly into what can only be described as a cynical, diabolical, and constitutionally perverse scheme orchestrated within the precincts of Ghana's parliament. What we are witnessing is not parliamentary procedure. It is political persecution. It is not the enforcement of standing orders. It is the weaponization of standing orders. And it is not about upholding the dignity of parliament. It is about crushing the fearless opposition leader who has currently stood between this nation and constitutional anarchy. Right Honorable Speaker Bagbe ruling yesterday, referring the minority leader Osahene Alexander Kwamena Afenyo-Markin to the Privileges Committee is the culmination of a coordinated campaign of intimidation, harassment, and institutional abuse that began on 22nd July 2025 when I was ambushed without consultation or consent into an illegal plot to remove my leader from Ghana's delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament. Let me be abundantly clear. I protested, I objected, and I refused, and I was ignored. On Tuesday, 22nd July 2025, whilst the minority leader was unwell and receiving treatment, the majority leader, Honorable Mahama Ayariga, moved steadily and clandestinely to amend Ghana's ECOWAS delegation list. His aim was surgical and sinister: to remove Honorable Afenyo-Markin and insert me in his place. The Hansard captures his words with chilling clarity. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to moving the resolutions numbered 19 of this House, and I quote, that's the quotation I'm giving you. That's what he said. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to moving the resolution numbered 19 of this House, I shall move pursuant to our standing orders for the amendment of the composition of the delegation so that Osahene Alexander Kwamena Afenyo-Markin is removed and Honorable Patricia Apieje is replaced as a member of the delegation. When objections were raised by the minority chief whip, an honorable member of Bimbila, the Speaker dismissed them without hesitation, declaring, "We are masters of our own rules." So the resolution has been taken, and then we will proceed on to the other business. Masters of our own rules? More like masters of constitutional lawlessness. I was neither consulted nor did I consent to this scheme. The moment I learned of it, I acted decisively. On that very day, 22nd July 2025, I wrote to the Speaker, stating in the clearest possible terms, respectfully, I wish to place on record that I was neither consulted nor did I give my consent to be considered as a replacement for the minority leader. At no point have I expressed any intention to replace my leader, and I'm particularly concerned that this development appears to be a calculated effort to cause division between myself and my leader. I called it what it was: procedural impropriety. I described it as deeply troubling, and I demanded that the resolution be stayed and rescinded, warning that proceedings would bring public embarrassment to the institution of Ghana's parliament. I stood by my leader then, and I stand by him now, and I will stand by him tomorrow. The Speaker's reply, dated 25th July 2025, was as dishonest as it was dismissive. He acknowledged my concerns, then proceeded to ignore every substantive point I had raised. He defended a flawed process, he justified an action taken without consultation, and he asserted that Parliament is not procedurally bound to secure the prior consent of nominees. And you all bear with us is that it is the leadership of both sides that make those decisions. This is not parliamentary procedure. This is parliamentary dictatorship. Most egregiously, despite my written refusal, the Speaker sent a formal letter to the ECOWAS Parliament on 25th July 2025, the same day, deliberately including my name and excluding the minority leaders. This was not an administrative error, it was diplomatic orchestration. I wrote again on the 4th of August, 2025, demanding immediate ratification. I emphasized that the decision was a unilateral imposition by the majority leader, and that it usurped the minority's right to nominate our own representatives, and that it created a troubling precedent. I urged the Speaker not to legitimize this constitutional travesty. I was ignored again. The consequences were swift and humiliating. On 8 September 2025, the ECOWAS Parliament, through its Speaker, Honorable Maimunatu Ibrahim, wrote formally to Speaker Bakbe announcing the parliamentary diplomacy mission to Accra to address Ghana's flagrant violation of Article 18 of the Supplementary Act ASA 1/12/16. Please take critical note that ECOWAS had to send a diplomatic mission to Ghana to avert our parliament's mind to the meaning of the rule of law. When the majority leader realized the gravity of the illegality, he scrambled to contain the damage. On 25th September 2025, he wrote to ECOWAS asking that only 4 nominees be sworn in instead of the 8, and promising to address any outstanding issues upon resumption from recess. This was an involuntary confession that the Speaker's actions were unlawful and required correction. ECOWAS reply on 26 September 2025, signed by the Acting Secretary General, Mr. K. Bertinson, diplomatically rejected the attempt to normalize the illegality, stating, "It would have been preferable that your letter was signed by your Speaker or Deputy Speaker. Parliament's concern is to ensure a consensual list that complies with Article 18 of the Supplementary Act. Ghana's Parliament has been rebuked by ECOWAS. Our country has been humiliated on the international stage, and the Speaker and majority leaders are the architect of this disgrace. And now, after orchestrating this constitutional travesty, after violating international law, after embarrassing Ghana before the community of West African nations, Honorable Mahama Ayariga had the audacity to petition the Speaker to refer the minority leader to the Privileges Committee for performing his lawful duties as a sworn member and third Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament. This is not parliamentary oversight. This is a vindictive prosecution. The timing is revealing. This petition came exactly 1 day after the minority leader led our side at the Appointments Committee to expose the NDC's government dishonorable attempt to secure parliamentary vetting for the then Chief Justice nominee, Paul Afenyo-Markin. And this is retaliation, pure and simple. And the Speaker, rather than dismiss this absurd petition out of hand, has entertained it, dignified it with a ruling, and referred it to the Privileges Committee. This is not leadership. This is complicity. Let me respectfully bring to the attention of the Speaker and the Majority Leader on the law they have violated. Article 18(2) of the Supplementary Act, ASA 112/16, provides, a representative shall be elected for a period of 4 years from the date of the inauguration of the Parliament by the chairman of authority. Their mandate shall end on the last day of the legislature. Article 18(3) defines the exclusive grounds upon which a representative's seat may become vacant. It's either by death, written resignation, certified incapacity, resignation due to incompatibility, or removal by ECOWAS Parliament. Honorable Afenyo-Markin falls under none of these categories. He has not died. He has not resigned, nor incapacitated. There has been no removal by ECOWAS Parliament. Yet the Speaker and the Majority Leader proceeded to remove him in flagrant violation of binding regional law, under which Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution takes precedence over domestic parliamentary resolution. The law is clear. The facts are undeniable. The shame is indelible. Members of the press, let me now address the fundamental constitutional question at the heart of this matter. Was the minority leader obligated to obey an unconstitutional resolution? The answer, rooted in both philosophy and constitutional law, is a resounding no. St. Augustine of Hippo, the great theologian and philosopher, declared centuries ago, an unjust law is no law at all. A law or resolution that violates the Constitution and international treaty obligation is not merely defective, it is null and void. It commands no obedience. It deserves no respect. And those who resist it are not lawbreakers, they are defenders of the Constitution. The minority leader was constitutionally right to ignore the bogus resolution on 22nd July 2025. Indeed, he was not merely entitled to do so, he was duty-bound to do so. The fundamental law of our land, the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, makes this duty explicit and non-negotiable. Article 1, supremacy of the Constitution, declares that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people, from whom all organs of government derive their authority, and that the Constitution is the supreme law of Ghana. Any law or resolution inconsistent with the Constitution is void to extent of that inconsistency. Article 3, defense of the Constitution, imposes a sacred duty on every citizen of Ghana to resist any person or a group of persons seeking to overthrow, suspend, or abrogate the Constitution or any part thereof. This duty is not optional. It is not subject to convenience of the Speaker or the political calculation of the majority leader. It is an obligation owed to the Republic itself. Article 41, duties of a citizen, further enjoins every citizen to uphold and defend the Constitution, to foster national unity, and to respect the rights and freedom of others. The minority leader, in refusing to acquiesce to an unconstitutional and intentionally unlawful resolution, was not being insubordinate. He was being a patriot. When a parliamentary resolution directly contravenes the Constitution and Ghana's international treaty obligations, it ceases to be law. It becomes what St. Augustine warned against, an instrument of injustice masquerading as authority. To obey such resolution would not be respect for Parliament, it would be treason against the Constitution. The Speaker, in his ruling, waxed eloquent about the dignity and authority of Parliament. But what dignity is there in violating the Constitution? What authority exists in defying international law? What respect can Parliament command when it degrades itself into an instrument of political vendetta? The minority leader did not bring Parliament into disrepute. The Speaker and the majority leader did, by crafting an unconstitutional resolution, by ignoring written objections, by committing diplomatic disgrace, by embarrassing Ghana before ECOWAS. They have desecrated the very institution they claim to defend. And now, they seek to punish the one man who had the courage, the constitutional fidelity, and the moral clarity to stand firm in defense of the rule of law. This is not contempt of Parliament. This is a defense of the Constitution. And if defending the Constitution is now contempt, then every patriotic Ghanaian should be prepared to be held in contempt by the Speaker and this majority leader. This ECOWAS debacle is only one strand in a coordinated campaign of intimidation against the minority leader. First, the NDC National Vice Chairman, Chief Sofo Azoka, publicly threatened to deal with Honorable Afenyo-Markin in his constituency, an open incitement to violence that remains unprosecuted despite a police statement claiming he had been arrested. Second, the Attorney General's office has floated threads of criminal reviews through strategic media leaks calculated to tarnish the minority leader's reputation and create a chilling effect on his parliamentary oversight role. Third, the NDC social media operatives have been mobilized in coordinated propaganda campaign to brand the minority leader as insubordinate and unfit for office. Fourth, the most egregiously honorable Ayaraga, the very architect of unconstitutional ECOWAS delegation, has now petitioned to drag the minority leader before the Privileges Committee for an offense other than attending to his lawful duties. These are not isolated incidents. This is a pattern of state-enabled intimidation, a coordinated assault on democratic accountability. We in the minority, we are here and we demand the following. One, the immediate withdrawal of the Privileges Committee's petition. It is gross abuse of process and an affront to justice. A public apology from the Speaker and Majority Leader to ECOWAS and to the people of Ghana for the international embarrassment they caused. 3, the passage of a resolution restoring Honorable Afenyo-Markin's name to Ghana's ECOWAS delegation and affirming Ghana's commitment to the rule of law under Article 75 of the Constitution. 4, an end to the coordinated persecution of the minority leader by the Attorney General's Office, NDC operatives, and party foot soldiers. And finally, 5th, the prosecution of Chief Sofo Azoka for his public threat of violence against the minority leader. In conclusion, members of the press, this episode is an indelible stain on Ghana's democracy. It reveals a leadership willing to bend the Constitution, mislead international partners, and criminalize dissent to serve political ends. But truth, law, and conscience will prevail. ECOWAS has spoken, the world has seen, and history will judge. The MPP and the minority stand firm with Honorable Afenyo-Markin, not because of party affiliation, but because the rule of law demands it. We shall defend the rule of law. We shall uphold and defend Ghana's constitution. Thank you very much. Yeah.